Hello everyone, this is Laura, welcome back. Today I have a card to share with you using the Lawn Fawn Manatee-rific stamp set and the Bayou backdrop die. I'm going to get this out of the way nice and early. I love manatees. I think they're so cute and cuddly looking, and I'm probably going to talk about them more than I talk about this card, but I'll try and stay focused and talk you through what I'm doing here. So first up, I'm going to take my backdrop die, and I'm actually going to use this to create some seagrass. So I'm going to use it upside down, so each of those vines kind of stands up as if it's growing from the seabed, and this will be the seagrass that manatees like to eat. They are definitely goals in my opinion. They eat 10% of their body weight every single day in seagrass and algae, and whilst they might not be things that I want to eat, I think I could definitely get on board with eating 10% of my own body weight. So I've die cut this from some green cardstock and also from some white cardstock because I am going to want a white border around the outside of this card. I'm adding some shading to my seagrass using some FERN ink from Simon Says Stamp and a finger dauber, and then I'll just go ahead and use my little tool here to poke out all of these pieces. This makes it really easy, especially when working on a foam background with an intricate die like this. You can just go ahead and rub it over the surface and get all those little pieces. So Lawn Fawn have a cardstock called Manatee. That is the colour of the cardstock, and naturally that is perfect for this design. I didn't have the coordinating ink, so I used an ink from Simon Says Stamp to ink up each of these little guys, and also some accessories. I've got a shell and a little star shape. Maybe this is another shell. I'm just going to do some basic colouring using an alcohol marker, and then just add the tiniest bit of shading just to my manatees. I'm also going to add a couple of dots for some texture on my manatees. They do have this kind of a texture. They also have kind of small hairs. They're incredible creatures. I was lucky enough to get to swim with some when I was in Mexico, and I'll try and put some pictures or some footage of that at the end. So once I'm happy with my extra detail, I'll move on to creating my ocean background. For this, I'm using a couple colours of Distress Oxide and just blending this onto the cardstock with the lighter colour at one side and then the darker colour towards the bottom. This is kind of naturally how the light would fall. Obviously the sunlight can only penetrate so far into the water before it starts to get pretty dark. This is something I definitely know firsthand, having done a scuba dive at night with nothing but a torch to see by, which was pretty incredible, especially when we turned those torches off and we could see all the bioluminescent algae kind of giving off blue sparks. Anyway, back to the card. I'm creating a couple of lighter spots just by adding some water to that Distress Oxide and then just allowing that to react and oxidize where it hits the paper. Here I have my white card base, and I'll go ahead and stick down my ocean background, which will completely cover up the white background. And I'm just standing this up to help me line it up. I find that that gives me the best success when I'm trying to do this. Now I'm using my Lawn Fawn glue, and I'm just adding small amounts of that glue all over my seagrass and all around the outside edge of this frame. I think this frame is really versatile. You can certainly use it in the imagery that's on the packaging and use it the other way around, but I think it works really nice for this design to have that kind of seagrass growing up. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my manatees. I think they're so sweet. So the idea that I wanted here is that we've got a girl manatee and a boy manatee. The girl is sitting really pretty with her flower in her hair, and the boy manatee, this is the story I've created in my head, and the boy manatee is trying to win her over, and he's gone and collected a pretty little shell for her, and he's brought that to her, and she's kind of all coy and blushing. So I wanted to add a little bit of bling to her hair bow. Naturally, what manatee wouldn't want a hair bow with a little bit of bling? And then I'll go ahead and stamp my sentiment. This is one of the sentiments that comes from the mini stamp set Manatee-RIFFIC. And I'm just using my Misty to help me line this up, because at this point, after all the work I've put in, I definitely don't want to stamp anything down wonky and kind of ruin my card. So once I have my Let's Shell-abrate sentiment in place, all that's left to do is go ahead and add that white border that we die cut at the start. So I trimmed off any of that extra seagrass rather, and then I'll just use my Lawn Fawn glue to hold that in place. I really like the look of that clean white frame, and then you can see the seagrass growing up from the bottom and the ocean in the background, and those manatees I think are just perfect. So in a moment I'll show you a photograph of one of the manatees I was fortunate enough to meet, and I'll also show you a short clip of me feeding the manatee a small piece of fruit. Okay, so that is today's card finished. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you liked the quick clip of me swimming with the manatees. I really enjoyed the experience. If you're lucky enough to have manatees in the area that you live, do read up on them, do learn some more about them. They do scare very easily, so you do have to be careful if you're swimming with them. They're fantastic creatures. I hope you've enjoyed this video today. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and click on that logo and tap the bell icon to be notified when I post. That's all from me today. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.